Hello everybody and welcome to the video. Today is week 8 of the 10th anniversary Hall of Heroes event, where every single week we're getting another Hall of Heroes that we've had within the last 10 years. And this means that it's a great opportunity for new players and even old players to gather up tons of useful 4-star monsters to help them throughout the game, whether it's in PvP or PvE. But for a lot of people, it could be very hard to choose every single week a new Nat 4 that could potentially change the way you play this game. So if you're struggling a little bit, you've come to the right place. I'm here to help you. But this week I want to do something a little bit different. Typically, I'd give you two options, either the light or the dark unit. Reason being is I believe these units are much more rare than the main attributes, and they are. Everyone knows that it's much easier to obtain a mystical scroll than it is a light dark scroll. So it's just the chances of you getting a LD 4-star are much lower statistically than getting a random 4-star from the main attributes, the water, wind, and fire, just because of the sheer amount of scrolls that you're getting. So, with that being said, instead of just one pick, I'm going to give you a pick from each thing. So, I'm going to give you a pick from the LDs and then a pick from the main attributes. The main attributes, I won't go into detail in this video. I'm just going to give you a random one at the end of the video, and I'll explain why I believe they're a good pick. I think the reason I want to do this is because for some people, they don't care about how rare a unit is. They want a unit that's going to help them. So, I think that while LDs are they're super cool and they're super rare, and there could be a buff that changes them one day, if you just want a unit that's going to help you now, so be it. So, you'll understand exactly what I mean by the end of the video. But for this video, let's kind of get into the two units, the light Undine, Ikasha, and then the dark Neostone fighter, Carl. So here we have Ikasha, the light Undine. She does have a leader skill that increases the defense of ally monsters with the light attribute by 40%. Okay. So just in case, I should have said this earlier. If there's a area where I can be critical of a unit, I will be, right? Because I will point out things that I believe are flaws. Maybe I'm overlooking things. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating. I don't know. It's up to you to decide that. But if I see a flaw, I'm going to point it out. One flaw with Ikasha, I'm sorry if I'm butchering her name. She has awful base speed. 96 base speed. I don't know if there are any slower units. Maybe the Grim Reapers have slower base speed, but she has pretty bad base speed, and for a support unit, you want to be pretty fast. But you could make up for it with you're gonna have to get her some good speed. You're gonna have to get some good speed rolls on your runes, but that doesn't mean she's not a good unit. That doesn't mean anything. You just have to work a little extra. You got to put in a little bit extra elbow grease when it comes to building this unit. But when let's read her skills. Her first skill is called Light Drop. Hey, that's my name. Attacks the enemy with a quick flash of light to remove one beneficial effect with a 35% chance. The effect activation rate increases up to 100%, it increases to 100%, not up to, but to 100%, if the number of beneficial effects granted on the target is equal to or higher than yours. So essentially, skill 1 strip, but if the enemy has the same amount of buffs or more than you, it's a 100% chance. That's a really good skill 1. A really, really good skill 1. I like that. There's nothing, I have no bad words for it. Skill 2 is Mind Shock. Inflicts damage on an enemy with a strong shock and grants Oblivion effect for 2 turns after putting the target's skills on cooldown every 3 turns. This skill 2 is so good. You guys have no idea. So for those of you who do not know what Oblivion is, in the most basic terms, without confusing anybody, it makes passive skill do poo-poo. It makes them do nothing. It pretty much prevents the enemy from using their passive skills. And then on top of that, to reduce the target's skills, or after putting the target's skill on cooldown. I'm very curious as to what they mean by skill on cooldown. Is it singular, like one skill, or is it all their skills? That's what I'm curious about. I'm sure they mean all skills. Again, that's something we'll have to test, I guess. But if it's all skills, or if it's their highest skill or whatever, like if it goes in order of skill 3, skill 2, and then not skill 1, but skill 3, skill 2, Cool. But that's way more powerful than you would ever believe. The Oblivion. Oblivion is a very, very powerful thing. To prevent an enemy from activating their passive, think about a unit like Veramos. Veramos has a passive where he cleanses debuffs, and he heals allies, and then increases attack bar, and all that crap. By placing Oblivion on him, it prevents him from proccing his passive. It prevents him from using his passive. There are also other units like perhaps Perna, who, when you kill Perna, he revives at death with, I believe it says full HP, and a full attack bar. So it prevents stuff like that from happening. So there's a lot of potential with Oblivion when used right. So already a good unit that strips, Oblivion, and then target skill cooldown every 3 turns. Not bad at all. The next skill is a passive. It's called Absolute Defense, where it recovers your HP by 10% and then grants invincible to the ally with the worst HP status, excluding yourself, for 1 turn at the start of each turn, and the recovery goes up with skill ups. This passive is also really good. Healing herself is already a pretty good thing. I mean, you're going to build her like an absolute tank, I can already tell you that. So a self-heal is really nice. But on top of that, I think it's the invincible thing that's really cool. This could be very clutch in some moments, especially when you're doing PvP, because this is where you're going to bring her. You're going to bring her into Siege, whatever PvP guild content, into RTA potentially, depending, maybe Arena. But if you can get her to just, let's say, for example, I don't know why, but let's say you have Akasha and then like Riley, right? Let's say the enemy is hard focusing your Riley, and they're just beating her down, and she's at like 10% health. You know that if the enemy attacks her again, she's dead, right? She's at super low health, and she's stunned. Let's say she's stunned. That invincible, when she takes her turn, she's going to make Riley invincible, meaning that she's just not going to take damage. The only way that they're going to be able to do damage is by removing that beneficial effect off of her. So it could potentially save you in a lot of spaces. So when you decide to start focusing on guild content like Siege Battle and all that, which you should start to do, especially with the update having gotten here and there being so many better rewards now, she might be a prime choice. But I could already tell you, this is an 8 out of 10 unit. She's a really good support. Maybe not the craziest unit out there, but with her potential, with what you could use her for, or what she could do, she's a really good unit. I like that skill 2. That skill 2 has a lot to it. But obviously, I think the way you're going to ruin her is Violent Will. You could also maybe go Violent Nemesis, Violent Revenge, whatever. Violent Revenge would be, I think it would be kind of funny, in the sense that it's like if you sit there and you attack an enemy, and then she revenge procs you, and then she strips the beneficial effects off of you, I'd be so pissed. I'd be so pissed. But I would go Violent Will, obviously. And then her stats would be speed, and then slots 4 or 6 would either be HP or defense. Just super, super duper tanky. Her substats, I would focus on speed as the very first thing. I want her to move fast. So she's taking tons of turns, so she can heal herself and then grant that invincible effect. Then the second substat that I would focus on would be accuracy, so she's landing that skill 2 and then also removing beneficial effects with her skill 1. Then it's either HP, defense, or resistance. That's all I care about. So, pretty good tank. Let's see what people have to say about her. 2024 of January 27th. Winner of the balance patch. No longer a niche unit. Now very well equipped in siege offense to defend against any bad RNG or procs. Yeah, I mean... Oh, you could also build her on Violent Seal. I would probably get her on Violent Seal. But, let's see how he built her. Never mind. You could also go Swift Energy, I guess, but I would go Violent. Knock, knock. Who's there? Akasha. Akasha who? Akasha outside. How about that? I don't know about that. No one has made a review. This is so underrated. Great for Siege and Katarina teams. I don't know what Kata is. 2024 for 333. So, okay. What are you doing? What is with the 100% crit? 105 bonus speed. Not fast enough. But, good attempt. 408. Where are all your stats? So you're on speed, Swift Will. Okay. Okay. This will rune, you remove it off and sell it. You'll get way more use out of the 10,000 something mana that you'll get from selling the will rune. Any other will rune would do better. The only useful stats on this one for her is the HP percent and the resistance percent. Crit rate sucks on her. Attack percent sucks on her. Slot 2. Crit damage sucks on her. HP, defense, resistance is good. The accuracy is also good. So not bad. This one, it's not even plus 15, but even if it was, good rune. I like it. All the stats are there that I like. Maybe switch out resistance for accuracy. Slot 4. Okay. Why? Why? You know? Like, why? Why did... Okay. Wow. I guess it's probably for substats? For the substats? Speed, defense, accuracy. And you grinded it, too. Okay. This one is okay. This one is okay. Gem out the attack, flat attack for accuracy, and then it'd be okay. This one, no, I'd switch it out. Yeah, artifacts, damage reduce damage taken, that's good. And then this one, skill 2 accuracy, I really like. First attack crit damage means nothing to me. Is that why you built her on crit rate? And then, yeah, all the other things suck. Don't use that build. Let's look for one more. Okay, so this guy, Dish, it said, his comment talks about synergy, so I'm assuming he has a good one. Not one of you has mentioned the synergy of running her with Halphus or Katarina. So, there we go. This, I like this one more. So 123 bonus speed, 100 or 806 bonus defense, 23,000 bonus health. He's got a pretty decent amount of attack on her. Resistance is not that great. Accuracy is, I guess it's okay. Violent will, hell yeah. So, what? Am I missing something about her kit where she needs crit rate? What the heck? You gemmed it to crit rate for what? Like, gem that crap to accuracy, bro. Slot 2, speed, innate attack, HP percent. Okay. It seems like you have to gem in the HP. I wonder what it was before. I imagine it was probably crit damage. Violent rune. Again, why are you gemming in crit rate? What am I not understanding about her? Okay. Whatever. Let's look at her usage. Obviously, Arena. Made for very annoying teams. A Katarina combo like people were talking about. Yeah. Arena. Guild Battle. And then, nowhere else really. So, yeah. She's PvP. Statistics. Swift Energy, Swift Will, Swift Blade. Swift Blade. Well, okay, maybe that was from what she was like before. Maybe she had something different. Like, way different. Like, damage type different. Violent Will, heck yeah. Swift Energy. Slot 2 should be Speed. Slot 4 should be HP or Defense. Slot 6 should be HP or Defense, or Accuracy, or Resistance. Whatever, if you can make it up on the substats. But, let's move on to the next unit. So the next unit is Coral, the Dark Neostone Fighter. He has a universal attack lead, where he increases the attack power of all ally monsters by 25%. He does have better base speed, by the way. Skill 1, Combat Knife, where he swings a dagger to attack the enemy 2 times and subsequently increase your attack power for 2 turns. Fully skilled up, he does even more damage. Nice. Skill 1, increases his own attack power for 2 turns. That's not bad, so it could be used for setup. Skill 2 is called Relentless Strike, where he increases the critical rate for 2 turns and then instantly attacks an enemy with a powerful strike. In addition, he recovers his HP by 30% of the damage he inflicts every 3 turns. When fully skilled up, he does more damage. So you don't have to skill up his skill 2. Crit rate bonus. So I bet you could probably build him on like less crit rate because since he buffs his own crit rate, maybe? I don't know. That's like something I would do because it's like if their kit allows for it, why not, right? Because you're not going to use him in like PvP or PvE. You're going to be using him in PvP, so you could set him up. Whatever. Skill 3, Piercing Dagger. Attacks the enemy with an attack that is guaranteed to land as a critical hit. Okay. Then, well, let's just continue. Wow. Inflicting damage that ignores all damage reduction effects. This attack ignores all effects that resist death every 3 turns when fully skilled up. So, let's talk about something. Let's go back to Akasha. Or Ikasha. Right? Akasha, whatever. Oh my god. Can you... There we go. When you build a monster, hopefully what it is that you do is that you give it skills that complement each other. So Akasha's skills complement each other. Skill 1 has a strip, skill 2 places the Oblivion debuff, and then targets skill on cooldown. And then her passive heals and then buffs an ally with the invincible buff. These complement each other pretty well, right? But the Neilson's fighter, Carl, his kit does not complement each other. Like, skill 1 and skill 2 complement each other, but skill 3 it doesn't, because it's guaranteed to land as a critical hit. What do you need the crit rate for? Right? Why do you need a crit rate buff? Why would you need to build him crit at all? If you go speed, crit damage, attack, and then go like speed, crit damage, attack percent, and then like HP defense or whatever in his substats, you don't need to go crit rate, because his skill 3 is the only thing that matters on his kit, because these two just do damage and then buff him a little bit and then recover his HP. But I'm sure the team you're bringing is already going to have an attack buff on it. It's just, I don't know. I don't like this his kit. I like his skill 3. If his skill 2 and 1 were complemented by a different skill 3, fine. If his skill 3 were complemented by a different skill 1 and skill 2, fine. But it's just like, his skill 2 doesn't match his skill 3. Where it's like, hey, here's a crit rate buff, but you were going to land a critical hit anyway, so it's not like you needed it. It's like the Sylphs. When like a Sylph, like, we can take a look at you. Their skill 1s. Throws a small spear at the enemy and increases your critical rate by 30% at the next turn if you get a critical hit. If I land a critical hit, why do I need the crit rate buff? Right? It makes no sense. You're going to give me a crit rate buff, but I'm guaranteed the crit regardless. Whatever. So, the reason you bring Carl is for a skill 3. This attack will always land as a critical hit, no matter what. So even if you don't build him on crit, it will crit. So you could use this to your advantage. It inflicts damage that ignores all damage reduction effects. This is stuff like, I'm sure, like Darian's passive, because that reduces damage. This is stuff like the Light Lich's passive, where if he falls below 50% HP, he will become invincible. This ignores the invincible thing. So when you go against an Akasha defense, for example, when she places invincible on her dying Riley, you could still kill the Riley. On top of that, we were just talking about this earlier with Oblivion, where you get units like Perna or Vanessa, or even the Wind Druid. Where like the Wind Druid, he revives at the moment of death. He revives with 30% of his HP. Not anymore. If you attack him with Carl's skill 3 and you kill him with a skill 3, he cannot revive. So this is nice. It's a pretty nice one. So he's an anti-revive and he does high damage. If it were me, I'd either build him on Violent Blade or Rage Blade. I know, you said no Blade. And hell, if you want to go Rage something else, I don't care. Violent, you could go Violent just so he's popping out tons of turns. But I would go Rage at the very least. And then either go attack crit damage attack or speed crit damage attack, just so he's moving fast. But his substats, and this is me personally. I mean, I'm sure other people have built him differently. But in his substats, I would go and focus on attack percent and crit damage percent as the main ones, and then like speed and HP and defense. I would not focus on crit rate, because I don't really care about him doing damage on these skills. I'd be worrying about him doing damage on his third skill, where he's guaranteed the crit, and he's going to do big damage, right? So, I would be bringing him for the anti-revive. That's it. But I don't know. I'm gonna give this guy a 6 out of 10. I like his skill 3. His skill 3 is really good. It's the thing that's carrying him as a unit. But like, there's a reason I'm giving him a 6 out of 10, and I'll explain it nearing the end of the video. But 6 out of 10, just because it's like his kit doesn't complement each other. The only good part about his kit is his skill 3, which his skill 3 is nice, and it's every 3 turns. Heck yeah. But let's look at this. The same people asking for likes. One of my favorite mons, built with a ton of crit damage as his third, always crits. He's a bad A nuker. GZ to everyone that will get him now. And let's see. There we go. See, this is what I'm talking about, right? So, they didn't build him on crit. They don't need to. Okay. Buddy, don't get me started. Don't get me started. Okay. This rune is a 5-star rune. Nope. I don't like any of your runes. He's a bad A nuker. He's probably a bad nuker with your build. I think Contour should give play... Okay. His third skill, Piercing Dagger, does not ignore the Light Beast Shield Light Distortion. Yeah, obviously, it's not going to do that. It's damage reduction. A shield is not damage reduction. I mean, I guess in a way it is. But not for that boss. My best runes on him. Okay, let's... Okay. No one is building him. Okay. I don't know what to do, guys. I'm looking through everyone's builds for him. Okay. No. Okay. He's barely at 1.5. He's barely at 1.5k attack. And he has triple attack percent. We're freaking done looking through this. Decent. Is he? No. Okay, so we're moving on to the monster usage, because I'm not going to keep looking at people's builds. We're not. I'm not going to do that. Every week, you know, I look at my monsters and I'm like, man, you're ruined so bad. Why am I ruining my monsters bad? Some of y'all make me feel better about my runes. It was a green rune, man. Light Beast. People are using him in the Light Beast. I guess I could see it because of his skill 3. But I wouldn't pick him just because he's a good Light Beast unit. Which I don't think he's a good Light Beast unit. I think he could do damage in the Light Beast. I mean, yeah, he has damaging skills that are single target. But there are a lot of units that are better than him. LDs or even main attributes that are just better than him in the Light Beast. I mean, he's one of the last units I'd pick. Just because it's like... skill 3... I don't understand it. I mean, it's fine. It's if you use him, it's not a bad thing, but it's just they're better units, even amongst 3 stars damage dealers. But Light Beast, Arena, like I said, PvP against units like Vanessa is actually who you use him, or like the Water Mage, whatever. Other than that, Rift of Worlds, Rift Raid. On an LD only, maybe I could see it, but not on a regular account. Like, if this is... Like, I don't get it. Why are you bringing him? What is this Rift Raid team? Like, Deborah, okay. Deborah, I get. Kaki, I don't. You, I don't. Leica, I don't. You, I get. You, I get. It's just... World Guild Battle, yes, you would use him in World Guild Battle. Again, he's an anti-revive unit. That's essentially what he is. And then... This is not a real team. This is a troll. Come to us. What the heck? And then the Ice Beast, for some reason. We're not talking about him no more. Let's look at the statistics. Rage Blade, heck yeah. Fatal Blade. Rage, Vampire Revenge. I could see maybe Vampire Revenge somehow if you have him on siege defense. Rage Will, yes. Rage Will is probably what I would go. But either speed or attack percent, so that works. Crit damage, attack percent. Yep. But okay, we've looked at both units. Let's go back. Okay, so after looking at both units, at the end of the day, I'm going to say the same thing I've always said. It's dependent on what you need. Do you need a damage dealer or do you need a support? It's not whether or not you need an anti-revive unit or not, because technically, on paper, they both have anti-revive on them. It's just one is more blatant than the other when it comes to that. And if you don't know what I mean by this, okay, so his skill 3 obviously is this anti-revive. Attacks ignore all effects that resist death. Cool. Akasha technically does the same. Theoretically, on paper, whatever. She technically does the same. Can we open her thing? Skill 2 is Oblivion. Oblivion just makes whoever has the Oblivion debuff, their passives don't work. On top of that, she increases the target skill cooldown time. Let's go to a couple units. So here we are. Here are a couple units that have Revive. Perna. Perna has a passive where she recovers the HP of all allies by 10% every turn and rises from the ashes at the moment of death with 100% HP. If you place Oblivion on Perna, Perna doesn't revive. Because the passive can't proc, because her passive doesn't work. And even if she could ignore Oblivion, we increase the skill cooldown times. So this will increase, technically. It should. Vanessa. Warrior's Return. We will increase the cooldown of this thing with that skill too. Meaning that revive ain't happening for another few turns. When we go to Ganymede. Ganymede's a passive. Oblivion. Go to the Druid. Odin. Or, no, that's not the Druid. The Druid. Tyrannus. It's passive. Oblivion. I guess Odin. So, blah, 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 blah. Revived by 20% HP. Passive. Oblivion. We get Cheryl. Skill 3. Skill cooldown increase will prevent this. Technically, Akasha has a form of anti-revive. It's just a little bit more complicated. But the cool thing about Akasha and what makes her better as an anti-reviver is that she doesn't need to kill the unit to make sure that they don't revive. For example, let's say I come in and I have Akasha and Guillemey. Guillemey ignores all damage reduction effects on a skill 2. So if I just have her place her skill 2 on an enemy, and she places the Oblivion and skill cooldown increase, let's say she does that on Perna, Guillemey can come in and kill. And even if it takes us a turn or two, we'll still get it done, right? Perna won't come back. But there's a chance that with the Neilstone Fighter Carl, what if he doesn't kill? Now you gotta wait 3 turns for the anti-revive. And it's just like, I feel like Akasha is just better in every way. For even the one thing that Carl is supposed to do, which is become an anti-revive unit, Akasha can do. Technically. Maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I am wrong, but I believe that's how the Oblivion and skill cooldown increasing or decreasing effect works. We're preventing the enemy from reviving on both of these units. It's just that this unit has more utility, while Carl, his kit doesn't complement itself. And he does damage, and then he anti-revives. That's it. But it's just like, out of both of the units, I'm going to say summon Akasha. Get Akasha, do her Holy Heroes. She's a really good unit. You will use her. Carl, you're not going to really use Carl, in my opinion. I think if you can get a unit that does anti-revive, you got 3 stars like her, where the enemy can't be revived if the enemy is killed with a skill. Cool. You get quite a few units. You get the Linda, get the Wind Cyborg, get other units. I don't know why it's not showing Carl, but she's better. I think she's better. I would pick her. So that's the first pick. If you don't want to pick any of those two units, if you don't want Akasha or Carl and you want one of these 3 units, my recommendation is Aegir. Aegir, in my opinion, is the better unit. Now, these other 2 units, Clara and I don't even know what your name is, Shimate, they're pretty good units. They all have their own niche. But Aegir, in my opinion, is the best pick out of the 3 main attributes, in the sense that he's good in guild content, in PvP, and dragons. He's a really good unit. So let's kind of go over his skills real quick. So skill 1 inflicts continuous damage for inflicts 2 continuous damage effects for 1 turn. And when fully skilled up, you can increase the damage and harmful effect rate. Skill 2 attacks an enemy with an axe, leaving the branding effect for 2 turns, and increases his attack bar by 50%. The damage effect, the branding effect, enemies with the branding effect will receive 25% increased damage every 2 turns. Skill 3 is what really makes him good for like places like dragons, and it makes him even annoying for PvP, where he attacks the enemy 2 times, with each attack having a chance to steal one beneficial effect with a 75% chance. Remember, this isn't a strip, it's a steal. So let's, for example, say you're going against a defense that has an Akasha, the light Undine, and she places invincible on someone. You could steal that invincibility and place it on yourself, which is really nice. And on top of that, he absorbs the attack bar by 50% each if you attack an enemy with no beneficial effect. So let's say you're going into the dragon's stage, the dragon's lair, abyss stage, whatever. You attack the boss. If the boss has immunity, you steal the immunity. And if you can steal the immunity on the first attack, that second attack will absorb the attack bar. Or you could just absorb both attack, do nothing but absorb the attack bar. This skill, regardless of when you're using it, is always very helpful. And then, but you only absorb the attack bar if the enemy has no beneficial effects. Other than that, it just states the berserker thing. Aegir can get out tons of damage. He could strip. He can do branding. He's pretty good. I think he's really good in a lot of those places. And if you use him in PvP, you could go speed, crit damage, HP, and he'd be tanky and still do a lot of damage thanks to his berserker state, increasing the damage he deals by 100%. So you could go like speed, crit damage, HP, and go rage blade, and be a really good unit. But at the end of the day, it's either Akasha or Aegir in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. You guys tell me what you guys picked. But I'm going for Akasha. I would go for Akasha, but if you don't want to go for Akasha, pick Aegir. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.